This is the Pacific Northwest, a landscape of profound history, now shattered, but peace is broken. The roar of heavy machinery signals a new chapter in an age-old battle for land.
Clutching her ceremonial staff, Ilara embodies the spirit of land back, a fierce movement for tribal sovereignty. This sacred ground, known as the Listening Place, is slated for a luxury resort by Titan Development, igniting conflict.
For centuries, indigenous lands have been stolen, promised away by treaties, then taken by force.
Ilara's roots run deep here, a direct descendant of chiefs who signed the 1855 Treaty of Dayton.
A treaty they now call the Broken Promise, forcing tribes to cede millions of acres for fleeting assurances.
The Grand Ronde Reservation, a small fragment, was meant as a sanctuary, but became another form of confinement.
We are not living in the past, as some say. This land is our breath. When they took the land, they took our very soul.
Titan Development, a corporate giant, touts a $500 million resort, claiming legal ownership of the land.
Their claim traces back to the 1950s termination policy, designed to dismantle tribal nation status and encourage land sales.
This policy aggressively pushed tribal members to sell their land, dissolving communal ties for individual assimilation.
But the Grand Ronde tribe disputes these sales, arguing they were made under duress, starvation, and federal coercion.
Enter Kai standing there, Ilara's grandson, a Harvard-educated legal activist, bringing new fight to an old battle.
Kai champions the new generation of land back, leveraging law, media, and direct action. We fight, not just for land, but for sovereignty.
He highlights sovereignty as the right to govern natural resources without federal or state interference.
Kai has filed a federal lawsuit, aiming to invalidate all termination-era land transactions, challenging historical injustices. This isn't merely a legal battle. It's an ideological clash over broken promises and stolen heritage.
Mayor Robert Hayes of Creekwood dismisses the claims, prioritizing private property rights and economic development. We cannot let past actions impede the future of this community.
To bolster their case, activists launched a powerful media campaign, unearthing a history long suppressed.
Online presentations and documentaries meticulously unveil the cultural genocide and widespread land confiscation.
They present irrefutable evidence. 1855 federal negotiation records detail deception and coercion.
These documents reveal tactics used to force elder leaders into signing treaties they barely understood.
Dr. Lena Swift, a Navajo historian, exposes the historical distortion of sales as true appropriations. Calling it a purchase is twisting history, like a starving person selling an arm for bread.
She argues it was an act of taking under false pretenses, exploiting desperation and lack of legal understanding.
The land back movement demands not just land, but official recognition of historical injustice.
They seek a sincere apology and worthy compensation for generations of suffering and systemic disenfranchisement.
In a significant move, the federal court issued a temporary injunction, halting Titan Development's construction.
However, Titan Development, through political influence, pressures local authorities to lift the injunction, citing economic harm.
Facing corporate pressure, Ilara and Kai choose direct action, organizing a peaceful, sustained encampment.
Hundreds of Native people and allies converge at the Listening Place, transforming it into a vibrant camp.
We carry no weapons, only ceremonies and millennia of unwavering patience.
The encampment blossoms into a cultural movement, healing circles, sacred prayers, and indigenous language teachings. The stark contrast between the sacred forest and the planned concrete resort becomes painfully clear.
Tensions escalate as mainstream media sensationalizes the movement, often misrepresenting its true intentions.
Coverage often paints activists as impediments to development, ignoring the core demands of tribal self-governance.
Kai, utilizing social media, counters the narrative with raw footage of Titan's security forcibly removing elders.
We are legal owners, defending our homes from modern invaders.
Social pressure mounts. Smaller investors withdraw from Titan, and major environmental groups pledge their unwavering support.
Kai's lawsuit progresses to a crucial trial, poised to redefine Native nation within U.S. law.
The court examines not only historical treaties, but the very definition of a Native nation's place.
Titan's high-powered Washington, D.C. lawyer argues tribes relinquish jurisdiction by accepting federal protection.
Kai masterfully introduces a counter-concept, federal recognition of sovereignty, a more nuanced argument.
Treaties never stripped our sovereign nation status, even under forced land cessions.
He contends subsequent land sales, especially those tainted by deception, don't nullify ancestral jurisdiction.
Kai cites recent legal precedents where tribes regained substantial control over their resources and jurisdiction. This marks a significant shift, from seeking protection to demanding equal national recognition, a true assertion of power.
In a brazen move, Titan Development announces it will resume site clearing at dawn, defying the injunction.
As dawn breaks, a formidable convoy of bulldozers and private security forces invades the sacred area.
But Ilara, standing bare, with 30 elders, bravely sits directly in their path, a peaceful human shield.
They've crossed a red line.
Security forces violently attempt to remove the peaceful elders. The confrontation is broadcast live, shocking the nation. In a horrifying instant, an elderly woman falls, her head striking the ground, igniting a wave of uncontrollable fury. The brutal incident sparks national outrage. Protests erupt across major cities, condemning Titan's violence. Under immense public pressure, the federal court delivers a swift, preliminary, and groundbreaking verdict. The judge orders an immediate halt to all activities, and mandates formal negotiations, mediated by the BIA. Crucially, the judge finds a strong legal basis to re-examine the validity of termination-era land deals.
For the land back movement, this is a monumental first victory, compelling the system to acknowledge historical claims.
Negotiations commence at BIA headquarters, lasting weeks, shrouded in palpable tension and differing agendas.
Titan Development initially offers a colossal financial compensation, aiming to definitively end the dispute.
We demand respect for our sovereignty. We are not selling land. We are taking it back.
After intense deliberation, a complex agreement emerges, blending legal frameworks, economic interests, and ethical demands.
First, Titan Development agrees to cede 400 acres of the listening place back to the Grand Ronde tribe.
The tribe agrees to compensate smaller investors for a portion of the land's current market value.
Second, the tribe secures exclusive jurisdiction over the returned land, free from state or local government interference.
Titan can build their resort on adjacent land, adhering strictly to tribal environmental regulations, not state laws.
Furthermore, the tribe will receive a percentage of the resort's profits, fostering shared economic opportunity.
This marks a historic compromise. The tribe regains not just land, but vital self-governance over a sacred site.
The official land return day dawns bright and beautiful, a rare, clear sky in the Pacific Northwest.
Alara Standing Bear, adorned in traditional regalia, walks a familiar path into the listening place.
We have returned. Not an empire's return, but the restoration of a small, vital piece of lost sovereignty.
The listening place will not be a golf course, but a cultural and nature conservation center.
Here, children will learn their language, history, and how to live in harmony with the land.
Kai, by Alara's side, feels the immense burden of history lesson, a significant victory achieved.
This is a victory for all land back movements.
We proved old treaties can be enforced and historical injustice corrected through law and persistence.
The Grand Ronde's success creates a powerful domino effect, inspiring movements nationwide.
In Montana, land-back movements gain traction, demanding management rights for Yellowstone's traditional hunting grounds.
In Dakota, oil stand by, with activists demanding complete control over ancestral.
Land back evolves into a practical political strategy, categorizing its goals into 3 distinct levels.
However, the path forward remains challenging. Critics fear land return destabilizes existing administrative and economic orders.
Alara, gazing at the returned land, finds profound peace, knowing the generational fight continues.
They said we had nowhere to go. They were wrong. We've always been here. This land is not property to be sold. It is our life.
This reclaimed land promises a future where tribal children can grow up connected to their heritage. The restoration of this sacred space is not merely physical. It's a healing for cultural identity and environmental justice.
Inspired by Grand Ronde, Indigenous communities nationwide.
The listening place becomes a beacon, fostering language revitalization and reconnecting youth with their ancestral customs.
Kai, now a leading voice, outlines future strategies for land back, inspiring national and international Indigenous movements.
Grand Ronde victory resonates globally, inspiring Indigenous movements fighting for self-determination and territorial rights worldwide.
Traditional crafts and ancient wisdom are preserved and taught, ensuring cultural continuity for generations.
Ecological restoration efforts flourish, bringing back native flora and fauna, rebalancing the delicate ecosystem.
Even former critics like Mayor Hayes begin to acknowledge the profound moral and legal arguments of the land back movement.
Art and storytelling become powerful tools, narrating resilience and shaping public perception of Indigenous rights. The narrative shifts from historical grievance to active reconciliation, driven by Indigenous leadership and self-determination.
Dr. Lena Swift emphasizes that true reconciliation demands systemic change, not just symbolic gestures.
A new generation of legal scholars and activists is empowered, ready to continue the fight for Indigenous rights.
Under starlit skies, the listening place resonates with drumbeats and ancestral stories.
Alara sees the stars, knowing her ancestors watch, witnessing the return of their sacred lands.
Kai, looking skyward with Alara, feels the powerful continual of struggle and triumph, a future yet to unfold. The cedar staff, once a symbol of defiance, now marks a fertile ground for future generations and enduring hope. Peace settles over the listening place, a testament to the perseverance and spiritual strength of Indigenous nations.
A future where Indigenous self-determination shapes landscapes, creating harmonious coexistence for generations to come.
Centuries ago, these lands thrived, governed by the rhythms of nature and ancestral wisdom.
Elder trees stand as silent witnesses to time, holding memories of tribal ceremonies and daily life. Elara remembers running barefoot here as a child, the land her playground, her teacher, her lifeblood.
Ancestral villages once thrived, their culture intricately woven into the fabric of this rich, abundant ecosystem. Then came the settlers, their arrival marking the beginning of an era of profound transformation and dispossession.
Maps were redrawn, ignoring millennia of indigenous sovereignty, erasing their names from their own territories.
Treaty councils unfolded, often under duress, forcing native leaders to make impossible choices for survival. The 1855 Dayton Treaty was signed, a document that promised peace but delivered betrayal for the tribes. It promised protection and provisions, yet delivered hardship, confined to ever-shrinking reservation lands. The Grand Ronde Reservation, a sliver of their former domain, became a temporary, isolating prison.
We are not living in the past. This land is our present, our future.
Her staff connects her to the land, symbolizing an unbroken spiritual and cultural lineage.
Titan Development, a formidable entity, asserts its legal right to develop, citing decades-old transactions.
These transactions stem from the 1950s termination policy, a federal attempt to eradicate tribal identity.
This policy incentivized tribal members to sell their lands, urging assimilation into the dominant American culture.
But these sales were often predatory, conducted under immense pressure, exploiting dire economic circumstances.
For Grand Ronde, any transactions made under such conditions are morally and legally invalid, a fundamental injustice.
Kai Standing Bear, forged in modern legal institutions, carries the torch for the next generation of land back.
Armed with a Harvard legal education, he harnesses the power of law, media, and direct action to reclaim what was lost.
Standing with his grandmother, Kai addresses the press amidst a light rain, his voice a clarion call for justice.
We fight for sovereignty, he proclaims, defining it as the inherent right to self-govern, unimpeded by outside forces. He highlights the struggle for control over natural resources, currently managed without tribal consent.
Kai formally files a lawsuit, seeking to nullify all land transactions from the oppressive termination era.
This legal action represents more than just a property dispute. It's a battle for historical truth.
Mayor Robert Hayes of Creekwood dismisses the tribe's legal challenge, labeling it an economic obstruction.
This is about private rights and economic growth. The past cannot hinder our community's future.
Activists launch an aggressive media campaign, leveraging digital platforms to educate and mobilize support.
They unearth hidden histories, revealing cultural genocide and land theft through powerful documentary films.
Irrefutable evidence emerges. 1855 federal records explicitly detail the deception and threats used against tribal elders.
These records confirm tribal leaders were coerced, forced into signing away their ancestral lands.
Dr. Lena Swift, a Navajo historian, exposes the colonial narrative masking land theft as legitimate purchase.
Calling these transactions sales is a historical perversion, she explains, likening it to selling a body part for survival. She argues such sales were in fact appropriations, veiled under legality, born from desperation and coercion.
The land back movement demands not just land, but a profound official acknowledgement of historical injustices.
They seek a formal apology and rightful compensation for generations of unaddressed suffering and systemic dispossession.
A federal court injunction temporarily halts Titan's construction, offering a glimmer of hope for negotiation.
Titan Development swiftly mobilizes its political influence, lobbying aggressively to overturn the court's injunction.
Responding to Titan's pressure, Elara and Kai initiate direct action, a sustained encampment at the listening place.
Hundreds gather, constructing a traditional longhouse, a powerful symbol of unity, resilience, and rootedness.
We will remain here. Hater. We carry no arms, only our sacred ceremonies and the patience forged over millennia.
The camp transforms into a vibrant cultural hub, fostering healing, prayer, and ancestral language revitalization.
The sacred forest, brimming with life, stands in stark contrast to the sterile, planned concrete development.
Breaking news, the controversial land back movement is facing significant legal challenges.